Hello world, my name is Josh Healey. We are here at the You Speaks office, or at least at one corner of the You Speaks office here in downtown San Francisco. So, I've been a writer, a poet, and a performer myself for about 10 years now, and I've been an educator for about 5 or 6 years. I got started in the adult poetry slam world myself when I was like 20 or 21. And what it means to be an artist, I think, means to be honest with yourself first and foremost about who you are and who you want to be. And then to be honest with the world. I was teaching a workshop yesterday, and I used a line from this movie V for Vendetta, which is with Natalie Portman, where she's like this crazy anarchist. And the dude from V for Vendetta has this line where he said, "Politicians use the truth to tell lies, and artists use lies to tell the truth." And I think that when I was talking about with my students, we were talking about in spoken word, a lot of times people assume that every poem you do is autobiographical and that it's factually true and this, that, and the other thing. And my point was that you don't have to be factually true to get at truth. And what you can do as an artist is play with time and language and space and create characters and imagine a new reality. My activist work is really an extension of my artistic work and my educational work. It's hard for me to divide the three, and that all really comes from how I got started as an artist and an activist was growing up in DC, in the belly of the beast. And I was a senior in high school when 9/11 happened. A couple weeks after 9/11 happened, you weren't supposed to say nothing after 9/11. You were supposed to support our troops and go to the mall. That's what we were supposed to do. Problems that are going on right now from Wisconsin to here in California, it affects my students, it affects me as a poet, as an artist, the budget cuts that are going on. And a lot of times we look at the budget cuts as like, oh, do we need to cut schools or should we cut public parks? And that's the discussion. But that's like this much of the conversation. There's no one talking about, are we gonna cut the war in Iraq? Are we gonna cut the trillions for prisons? Are we gonna cut these things? Because that's not part of the conversation. So I see my role and the role of poets and activists and educators is to broaden the conversation, to try and get a look at the bigger picture of the larger world so that we can be more honest. So that's why I say sometimes use lies. What I mean by lies is not like, I'm gonna lie to you, but use metaphors, use stories, use creations, use characters to get to the truth of what's going on. Fundraising is hard, and it's the hustle, and it's what you have to do as an artist, as an organizer, as an organization. You Speaks, this is part of the tension we have to do, is we always are, we're trying to work with the kids and work with the people that we need to work with. And at the same time, we gotta raise money to be able to do it. And it's tough because the people we're raising money from are often not the same in the same communities as the kids we're working with. So there's a disconnect. As an independent artist or an organization like Vetted Word, I know how hard it can be and how important it is. And here's the thing, it's really about choices. And do you as a person want to go out and support, you could take your girl to the movies and that would cost $25. You take her to dinner, that's probably like another 20, well 30, I don't know. I don't,
Cities.
I mean, it depends, if you're
Right.
doing Mickey D's or Chez Panisse, it depends, you can. Or you can support your artist, your neighbor, your local creator, the next big thing who is right here in the Bay Area. You can support them. And really that means supporting yourself, because there's nothing like live art. There's nothing like that connection, direct connection between the artist and the audience, because I'm watching Armageddon 3. I can't talk back to Bruce Willis. He's definitely not talking to me. He's just he's making his 20 million and he's going home. But at a spoken word show, at a vetted word show, at a You Speak show, there's this call and response. There's this connection between an audience and an artist. And that's where, real change happens. That's where transformation happens. As an audience member, I walk home and I'm like, oh, this is something I can do. This is something I can think about. This is something I can go talk to the artist. So to fundraise, you have to do it. And I really encourage people to support Vetted Word. What they're doing to create a community of artists and writers is really beautiful. There's a lot of different spaces in the Bay Area that I've seen, slams and workshops and this, that, and the other thing. But the Vetted Word community is a really special thing that I've been proud to, be at when I can, because it's a space that brings together different folks who are not in the same community. And it's a non-competitive space. It's a fun space. I always have a good time. And Olga's crazy, so make sure you support her, because if she doesn't, she will track you down.
Word. Thank you so much, Josh. Really appreciate this.
My pleasure. Vetted Word for life.
Word.
Sucker.